Hello and welcome to Dateline Lagos on Channels Television. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Coming up on the program, Governor Sanwo-Olu commissions a 140-bed hostel in Baptist Academy, state government launches SDG grant competition, and 4th edition of Lagos Transport Fest takes place. Let's begin with the education sector. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has inaugurated a 140-bed hall of residence in Baptist Academy built by an old student of the missionary school. Governor Sanwo-Olu says the project represents a befitting intervention which alumni associations can use to support their alma mater and provide platforms for academic advancement. Take a look.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu arrives at Baptist Academy, Obanikoro, for the commissioning of the 140-bed hostel built by an old student of the school, Mr. Ayodeji Fadoju of 1988 set. Members of Baptist Academy Old Students Association, teachers, as well as students are all gathered for the ceremony. It's not just the state government that is giving the education sector a facelift. Respective individuals like Mr. Ayodeji Fadoju are also taking such responsibilities by giving back to the academic community.
During our era, we had the opportunity of being given a fantastic foundation. My parents are seated here now. Three of my other siblings passed through Baptist Academy. I graduated from this school in 1988. And because of the foundation we were given, the Baptist Mission School is based on being able to give back. We have a very robust Old Students Association called BAUSA. 5 years ago, I visited the school, and where this edifice is standing, there used to be a bungalow. I entered the bungalow and it brought back pictures of people in prison. The decay of the infrastructure was alarming. So I had it at the back of my mind 5 years ago that if given the opportunity, I would love to do an hostel whereby students that pass through the school, we have the comfort of mind to be able to assimilate what they are being taught. It's not only about the quality of book education. We also need to prepare their minds. The products of this foundation stage will determine the future of our country. And one of the reasons for this donation is not because the donor has excess funds, but the donor believes that it's not only the responsibility of the government or the mission school to look out for the generations that will take over Nigeria and put us in a better place. I want to use this opportunity to encourage others that we should not only see the responsibility of providing a good foundation to the government or to the mission schools, but a collective responsibility of everybody.
The president of the Nigerian Baptist Convention, Reverend Israel Akonji, commends the donor for giving back to his alma mater.
For us, today is a day of celebration of one of our students. Today is a day of gratitude that a student has become a shining example for our nation, Nigeria. Oh, that people will go back to their roots and be a blessing to the communities which have been used of God as ladder for them to get to their positions. The Fadoju and his family, with the cooperation of his wife, cooperation of his parents and relations who did not discourage him. With all that cooperation, and with God himself, who says in his word, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain, God himself being at the center, this great Kikelomo Hall has been erected. Today, Your Excellency, I believe that with people like DG Fadoju, we can say hope is not lost for Nigeria. Hope is not lost for our society. And it is our prayer that some of these students who are listening to us today, one day will do even something bigger than this for the glory of God. May we all learn from DG Fadoju to go back to all the places that God will lead us to be a blessing to them.
Governor Sanwo-Olu encourages others to emulate such an example, and he also uses the opportunity to reel out direct intervention being carried out by his administration for the education sector.
So what we're here to do is a clear testament and a testimony of the can-do spirit of Nigerians, of Lagosians, of each and every one of us, where we see ourselves as partners in government, partners in the advocacy and ensuring that we can leave a legacy that will outlive us, that we can use our resources, our talent to better our community, to better our society, and to leave an enduring legacy that will even outlive all of us. And so I felt very elated, and one that I should come and identify with when I saw pictures of the Kikelomo Hall that we're going to be handing over to Baptist Academy today. And I felt very encouraged to come forward and identify with all of you. And my reason is very simple. Others that want to do this, I will clear my calendar and I will come and also commission your own too for you. If you can beat this landmark, if you can do interventions like this, then you deserve for the governor to come and publicly acknowledge you, to thank you, and to encourage others to do similar things. It's not like he had said, it's not how much money we have, but how we're using what God has given to us to identify and to transform and to change life. Not necessarily for ourselves, but for the generation coming behind us. And so it doesn't look like your government has not done anything in our own little space. And so in less than 4 years now, we're not done 4 years, but in less than 3.5 years, this government will touch over 1,000 public school projects in Lagos State. Over 1,000. In terms of clear numbers, we've added 1,055 brand new classrooms to all of our public schools. Over 1,055 brand new classrooms. We've built and handed over 200,000 new chairs and benches. We've touched about 65 laboratories in public schools. We've touched about 45 libraries in public schools. We've added, which is what we're seeing in Kikelomo here today, we've added 8 new hostels, accommodation hostels that has provided bed spaces for close to 2,000 students that are in boarding school. And so I can go on and on. But more importantly, is also what we have done for the teachers and for the learning environment. In our early school, which is called the primary schools, because we believe that they are the feeders that gets into the secondary school and by extension, the university. And why are we doing that? Look at all of the young leaders that we have in here. Look at the median of our age as a country. A government or a people that does not invest in the leaders of tomorrow is not worth this level of authority. And so for us as a government, we continue to increase our budgetary allocation in education and health every year. To the glory of God, in the name of the Father, the Son.
The 140-bed dormitory is named after the donor's mother, Kikelomo Hall, for good use of the students.
In its drive towards mobilizing action for social impact endeavors, the Lagos State government has flagged off its SDGs Impact Challenge for non-governmental organizations to come up with projects that target the 17 global SDG goals. Speaking at the flag-off ceremony, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Sustainable Development Goals and Investments, Shalakwe Hammond, says the grant competition is designed to award a sum of 5 million naira each to 3 winning ideas that target each of the Sustainable Development Goals.
The 2023 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for the people and the planet, now and into the future.
In accomplishing the goals and objectives of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, all selected project ideas will be awarded a 5 million naira grant prize for project execution.
Lagos State is racing to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by flagging off its SDGs Impacts Challenge to support non-governmental and civil society organizations as well as other social impact ventures with grants to execute 51 projects that target the 17 global SDGs across the state.
On the 10th of June this year, the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, the department that deals with partnerships that works very closely with us, held an NGO summit together with us, where we had a lot of NGOs to hear from them what their challenges were. And it was sort of a precursor to this event that we're doing today. And I remember at that summit, there had been a mention that the NGOs didn't have enough contact with the government. Now, how many people here tell us true, really kind of avoid government most of the time? Don't be afraid to put your hands up. I know we all, yes, thank you. When I was in private sector, I kind of avoided government because I really thought government taxes, and so a lot of people a lot of organizations are not really very close to government. But those who have that experience understand why it's important. We're not all bad. There's a lot that's good that comes from working with the government. And at that event, they made that, they mentioned that, they basically don't know a lot of the great things that are happening in Lagos. And one commitment we made to them at that event was we will create a directory for NGOs to register with Lagos, to let us know the things that they do so that we can send them information that is relevant to them. Let them know what the programs are that are happening all over the Lagos State government and even in other, it could be things that development partners are doing, private sector is doing, and that we will share that information with them, and we committed to creating that platform before the end of the year.
The state government is not alone on this journey. One of its partners gives a breakdown of the Impact Challenge, the selection criteria, and the implementation strategies for those who emerge winners.
We have a couple of key and vital objectives that we'll try to accomplish. Number one is to mainstream the SDGs. We want to see how we can amplify the impact of key actors in the space. We want to crowdsource innovative ideas that can lead to measurable impact. And the key word there is measurable. We don't just want people to do anything. We want to see the numbers. I was particularly delighted when I saw Timmy's numbers. She was showing the 300s, the 400s, and all of that. That's one of the things we want to do. Crowdsource innovative ideas that can lead to measurable impact on the SDGs. We want to encourage civic participation in diverse class of constituents, increase the number of active volunteers in Lagos. There are many things happening in Lagos, and we need more hands to be on deck to see that we all are part of developing and growing the city that we all live in. And finally, we want to see that we enable greater visibility for all the activities of CSOs and NGOs, the ones we call impact makers in Lagos State. The truth is this: many people are doing a lot, but they are not visible. This challenge, and then the NGO directory that we have just launched, will bring about the visibility. And that's what we are doing here. So let's talk about a little more technical things. How are we running through this application? There'll be some pre-eligibility screening. At this point, you saw the video already, you run through the LSVC website. And at that point, we check to find out that you have met the baseline criteria. Afterward, we'll do some competence screening. And I'll amplify on the competence screening a little bit more when I'll talk about the Amakas, the Edwards, the Emmanuels, and the Mohammeds, and what role the private sector and all of the development sector has to play in helping us ensure that we appoint and we award grants to the people who really deserve it. At the end of the time, we will eventually select projects.
The Social Policy and Program Manager of UNICEF, who is also in attendance, commends the state government for coming up with such an initiative and emphasizes the need for NGOs and applicants to prioritize data to drive change in Lagos State.
This is quite innovative, this is quite creative, and I think this is also some high level of empowerment that you're giving the people who should be there where you cannot get to reach to those vulnerable groups and ensure that all these goals are met. Of course, I should have a little bias being from UNICEF because our bias is for women and children. But of course, we know how linked all the SDG goals are. So for us as members of the United Nations, we see that what you are doing today, bringing in experts, I've heard all of you speak, and honestly, I was just listening and taking notes because of the great things you do here. And I've been informed that you are going to have 3 grants for each of these goals. And these grants are going to experts who I'm sure are as good as you that I've listened to. They're going to have 3 grants for each of them addressing these goals in Lagos. I just can't imagine the Pom-Tom list. I can just imagine what we are going to achieve and what lessons we'll be selling to others, not just in Nigeria, but every other place.
Winners will be announced on December 16th. Each project is expected to advance the achievement of the SDGs in a particular community by addressing climate change, hunger, and other socio-economic deficiencies in Lagos State.
And we wrap up the program with the 4th edition of the Lagos Transport Fest, where those in the public and private sector came together to discuss how to develop and drive the transportation industry with the use of technology.
The Lagos Transport Fest is one of West Africa's most important gatherings of mobility leaders across road, rail and water. The Civic Center, Victoria Island, Lagos, is the venue for the 4th edition, and key players in the public and private sector are here to deliberate on possible ways to shaping the future of Nigeria's transport sector, particularly Lagos State. Just before the discussion kicks off, the State Commissioner for Transportation and one of his partners provides insight about the transport conference.
What Lagos State is doing right now is responding to the enormous immigration coming. People coming into Lagos, a lot of people are living in the north, etc. And so we have to find a creative way, and that's where technology comes in. Let's put our head together and then see how we can solve this problem. It is our problem, it is not just government, it is our problem. So when I hear, oh God, what is government doing about it? What are you doing about it also? It is us. And so let's adopt that mindset where, we have a forum like this, we're here to discuss, okay, what can I do? I have this idea, I want government to listen to it. Let's all come together and let's solve this problem.
There is quite need for us to expand the options for the transport sector in Nigeria, and of course with key focus on Lagos. So this has spurred us into the idea of ensuring that there is much more platform to speak from the rail and of course water options. There is quite a lot of work within Nigeria's railway industry right now, and of course Lagos State is equally preparing to launch theirs and stuff like that. Abuja, Kaduna. So, and usage of this platform, there have been quite a number of challenges across them. So it is important for us to provide an opportunity like this for industry leaders to expand key discussions on them and of course prefer solutions to the issues that are facing the industry at large.
Then a panel session sets the tone of the event, thereby providing an opportunity for the Lagos State government to listen to stakeholders in the transport sector and how the use of technology is driving the marketplace.
Also live in Lagos today is something we call Uber X Share. What that does is that we're working to reduce the number of vehicles on the road. What that means is we match people going in the same direction to one particular vehicle, right? What that means is less cars on the road, less congestion, and also less air pollution. So we're working across this and hopeful that in the next coming months too, we have like electric vehicles in Nigeria. But to get that to a successful place, I think there are three things we have to consider. Number one is the infrastructure bit of it. Number two is technology, and number three is the people part of it. Technology, I think we have that in partnership with some of the companies here. But the infrastructure bit, I think that we still have a long way to go there.
The infrastructure to be able to build the technology on top of it. So there's an infrastructure problem across board. A lot of these operators need cash at hand daily because, for instance, they need to pay their drivers at the point of departure. They need to give drivers money to buy fuel on the way. Not many fuel stations, as much as in Lagos we see fuel stations using POSs, but when you think of traveling cross country, not many fuel stations actually have this service. So you actually need cash. Some of them need cash for when their cars break down and they need to stop at a mechanic workshop. So there's fundamentally an infrastructure problem across different sectors that now come together. So I think one way we can kind of look at it is, so a solution like ours, we are digitizing business operations for these operators. They're able to see, it brings in transparency, right? So transparency helps them to plan ahead, and this planning kind of takes away the need for cash at hand at the point of departure, right? Maybe your customers have booked their tickets ahead and you now have money to facilitate the business operations for the day. Maybe we can partner with driving, for instance, and drivers don't need to be paid in the morning of the day of departure. Maybe we partner with auto checks, so cars are in better conditions and then they don't break down along the way. So I think fundamentally the technology is there, but tech is good to democratize, but tech can't solve everything. So I think, yeah, these synergies is one way to look at it, to bring in solutions, but then fundamentally the infrastructure which companies like ours is already building and developing the technology for the operators also helps to facilitate moving towards a cashless Nigeria.
Those in charge of the State Waterways Authority and the State Metropolitan Area Transport Authority highlight steps taken by the government in the area of multimodal integrated transport system.
We're looking at, obviously, the various modes that we have. Everybody must know now that Lagos State is in the process of building 2 of its rail lines. Within the Strategic Transport Master Plan, we have 6 rail lines and 1 monorail. Out of those 6, we have started to implement 2 of them, the blue line and the red line. The blue line goes, the whole of the blue line goes from Okomaiko to Marina. But as any rail line, and I keep saying this, we're starting with the first phase, and that is from Mile 2 to Marina. That will be, from an infrastructural perspective, be ready by the end of this year. From an operational perspective, passenger operation that is, will be ready by the end of the first quarter of next year. That's the first rail line that you will see to be operational in Lagos. That one will have stations from Mile 2, Alaba, Igomu, National Theatre, and Marina. The buses that we have the BRTs which travel on dedicated lanes, we have the standard routes which travel mid-traffic and miss traffic and ensures that we move various routes, and then we have the first and last mile buses which will take you from your home or your destination to any terminals, bus ferries, rail stations, such that you can be comfortable. I know because I suffer from it. I'd love to be able to sit on a bus, on a train. But when I know that a portion of my journey will not be covered by public transport, I am discouraged. But the way Lagos is moving, it will now become very easy for you to do all of your journeys with public transportation because of this intermodal integrated transport system.
What we've been doing at the Waterphobia, we started to carry a lot more awareness and sensitization programs and made people to understand, because I think you mentioned about road transportation probably being the safest, but research will tell you water transportation is actually the safest. And that's because obviously it's not like you have regularly that boats are running into each other, and in case of any emergency, the worst that would happen is that you have to get into the water, which is why the importance of the life jackets. I know if you go abroad, you probably see that they keep the life jackets under the seats. Unfortunately, here we wear life jackets to keep us safe. and it will keep you for as long as 20 to 24 hours, which by then, of course, rescue will have gotten to you. And one of the things we've been able to do as well is to also shorten our response time to emergencies. This we've been able to do as well through technology. We're actually about to commission any time from now. It's just waiting for Mr. Governor to commission the first of its kind, an inland waterways monitoring and data management center. And this would enable us to be able to gather the relevant data, respond to emergencies, even help us with security issues around the waterways.
The Lagos Transport Fest is a veritable platform that every stakeholder in the sector looks forward to share ideas. Conclusions reached at this conference will help build a better transport sector for Lagos State and Nigeria.
And that's the program for this week. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Until we come your way again next time, please stay safe. Bye for now.